As a quick reminder, we're now talking about the steps for resolving conflict in marriage. In the last session, I introduced 3 steps. Step 1, start with respect. Step 2, create a pool of shared understanding. Step 3, search for solutions that meet the needs of both people. In this lesson, we'll do a deeper dive into step 1, start with respect. This step is an attitude more than a skill or behavior. It's an attitude in which you see your spouse as an ally rather than adversary. You see your common interest as bigger than what divides you, as bigger than your conflict. You don't want to play games, you don't want to manipulate, you don't want to control. Masks and pretenses are discarded, and you want to support each other into getting what you both want. Creating respect begins with you. It's not so much a characteristic of the relationship as it is a place you come from. It's something that you create as you make positive assumptions like we talked about in the last lesson. As you make positive assumptions about your partner and your relationship, and as you surrender your hurts and resentments, your desire to have it your way or always be right. Your efforts to solve problems, make decisions, and influence your partner is limited if respect is absent. You might be able to enter into dialogue and even come to a resolution on a problem or decision, but without respect, there may be some negative prices to pay over the long run, including resentment, lack of cooperation in the future, an unwillingness to carry out the decision, sabotage, and so on. If respect is missing, building it is often the first order of business. And here's how you build it. First, look at your own intent and ask yourself these questions. Are you trying to be helpful rather than hurtful? Are you willing to take responsibility rather than blame? Are you willing personally to create conditions for dialogue to succeed? Are you willing to maintain an attitude of respect and goodwill throughout your conversation? Second, begin dialogue with a leveling statement. Leveling has 3 parts. 1, I state a concern. 2, I state my interest in understanding my partner's point of view. And 3, I invite us to solve the problem in a way that will work for both of us. Let me give you some examples. Hey, Norma, I was surprised by a comment you made about going to see my parents this summer. Seems like you have some strong feelings about that, which I'd like to understand. I wonder if we could talk about it either now or later today when it's convenient for you. Here's another example. Bill, I've been feeling uneasy about chores around the house. I'd like to understand your point of view and see if we can clarify each of our responsibilities so we're on the same page. Here's another example. I'd like to talk about John being out so late the other night. I think we have a different understanding of his behavior, and I'd like to understand your point of view and share mine as well, and see if we can work this out so we can be more clear in our expectations of him. We'll notice that these statements focus more on the process of your communication than the content. You're not jumping into a discussion of the facts of the situation. You're neutralizing the situation and extending an invitation to your spouse to talk. Remember John Gottman's advice to use a soft startup? Well, this is beginning a conversation in a way that doesn't elicit blame or defensiveness. It isn't beating around the bush, but it isn't attacking. It's a statement that's devoid of criticism, contempt, or accusations. The words are factual, but they're delivered in a way that doesn't sound self-justifying or blaming. Leveling statements meet these criteria. A third way to start with respect is to clarify your intent or your concerns. You don't want to always do this, just when you think it would be easy for your spouse to misunderstand why you want to talk, or when they don't trust your motives or your desire to understand and support them. Clarifying your intent helps build trust and confidence in your motive for initiating a conversation. You clarify your intent by making, I call them contrasting statements that point out what you do and do not intend, mean or want. For example, I don't intend to say you're at fault here. I do intend to say I think it's something we're both responsible for. Or I don't mean to suggest we don't have a good relationship. I do mean to say that there are a few issues I need to discuss so we can work even better together. I don't want to throw cold water on your plans. However, I do want to share my opinions and give you some input. Well, these statements help your spouse feel your respect and avoid misinterpretation of your motives. Related to clarifying your intent, and by the way, you won't always do this, just if you have concerns that your intent might be misunderstood. And related to clarifying your intent is clarifying concerns. The idea is to get any concerns about entering into dialogue out into the open at the very beginning. Being open about concerns deals directly with the reasons your partner might be hesitant to talk openly and thereby diffuses these issues and makes it safer to enter into a conversation. It makes the conversation more real and helps establish your credibility and authenticity and builds greater trust in the relationship. Others will know that you're sensitive to their deeper reservations. Here's some examples of clarifying concerns. I'm concerned that by bringing this up, you'll misunderstand my support of you. You can then go on and say, I am supportive and don't want you to doubt that because I bring this issue to your attention. Or one concern I have in talking is that our relationship will be harmed. Please know that I only bring it up so we can better understand each other and resolve whatever's keeping us from, enjoying our time together. I'm concerned that our dialogue could degenerate into a gripe session, and it's important to me that we keep the focus on what we can learn, positive actions we can take in the future. So you think about any hesitancy or resistance that you or your spouse might have about entering into the conversation. If natural early in the conversation, you share this and then give the person a chance to comment. It's important after they do so that you reassure them of your positive intent and commitment to their interest as well as your own. A fourth way to create respect is to make unitive statements. Again, you don't do this all the time, only if it seems that your partner could be threatened and react defensively to your invitation to talk. Unitive statements show your underlying commitment to him or her or to your relationship. They're statements that sound like, I really value our relationship. I want what's right for you as well as me here. We're already a strong team. I want us to feel good towards each other again. I'm sorry about a comment that seemed to hurt you the other night. I want to talk about this so we don't let Billy divide us, and so we're working together to do what's best for him. As you can see, these statements help partners turn toward rather than away from each other. They're used to create an overall context of unity for exploring sensitive topics and resolving problems. Such statements work not only at the start of a conversation, but sometimes throughout if it feels like things are going off track. Remember the concept of repair attempts? They're a form of repair attempts that we've talked about before.